Hey, Trigger Todd here, and time for another video. Alright folks, in this video, about a year ago I did a video talking about when safety devices aren't safe. And I think the video was titled, When Safety Isn't Safe. And instead of doing a video like that, because you guys are going to think, oh, he hates his new truck, I decided, why not describe the safety features on this 2022 Peterbilt I got and tell you which ones I like and which ones I don't like. But before we do that, make sure give me a thumbs up, share this video on your social media platforms, and make sure you're still subscribed. Also, look down in the description below for a lot of other great information, including ways that you can apply to work here at Dart Transit. Alright folks, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
So I was recently in some really bad snow, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about how well this truck performed on the snow. And as you guys know, in large part, when you perform well in the snow, it has to do with your tires. And I wanted to show what kind of tires this truck has. They are the Bridgestone M760s. And one thing that's real obvious about this truck is when Dart spec'd this truck out, they were definitely aiming for fuel economy, and you can see the aero kit on it, and safety. There's a ton of safety features on this truck, and for the most part I like them all. There's a few that I don't, and we're going to talk about these. This by far is probably my favorite. The blind spot monitoring puts a little dash on the A-pillar on the passenger side, turns red if there's something in your blind spot you can't see, and it'll even beep if you put your turn signal on to make a turn that way. Sorry my truck's so dirty, I just got it washed and it's still dirty. And so the other things right up there, and I'll see if I can get a good shot of it. Looks like you can see the white box of it. Beside it is a front-facing camera. And initially I didn't like it, but as I learned more about it, I've begun to like it. And so we're going to talk about that as well. And then, as you know, the thing I don't like is this little box right here, and we're going to talk about it as well. But also, these headlights are great. And I'm told they're LEDs. They appear to be LEDs. And they work super at night. You got really great visibility. Another thing I really like are these LED lights all the way around. Of course, I think most new trucks have those now. They help with, you don't have to replace them very often, things like that. And then right here, these mirrors here are much bigger than what they were on my Kenworth. They stick up a little higher. They're easier to see. We're going to talk some more things about this truck, and this is not by any means a comparison video with that Kenworth, the T680 I had. We're going to have a video coming up real soon where I'll compare the two trucks. But for now, I just want to talk about the safety features on this particular truck. Now, I'm going to hop back inside and we will finish this conversation. Okay, now, as I said, most of these features on these trucks I really like. That blind spot monitoring is handy when you're passing. You know, Dart used to have a safety video that they showed, and it was in snowy conditions, and there was a white Mercury Cougar that was in the blind spot, and they showed out the driver or the passenger side window from the driver's seat, and you really couldn't see the car. The car kind of blended in with the snow. And while this isn't an ideal circumstance, and I get that, it really showed the added convenience of this blind spot monitoring and how it could be a benefit. Sure, you've still got to use your mirrors. Sure, you've still got to lean and look, but it's just an added safety feature that's not real cumbersome or overbearing. Now, speaking of cumbersome and overbearing, we're going to get to those things. Now, let's talk about the forward-facing camera. As a general rule, I'm against all of these. This one's okay. It does not record audio. Why do I want one that doesn't record audio? Well, because you can't tell me of one situation where that camera recording audio will benefit the driver. For example, if you change a radio station, they can say you're distracted. If you're opening a Coke can, they can say that was a distraction. If you're talking on your Bluetooth headset, that could be a distraction. Even singing with the radio could be a distraction. Same thing with inward-facing cameras. Dart doesn't have those, and I'm glad, because that would be a deal breaker. Inward-facing cameras now have technology where they can count how many times you blink, and if you blink so many times within so many minutes, that's supposed to mean you're fatigued. Now, you and I both know it could mean you have allergies, it could mean the sun's in your eyes, a lot of things, but of course, everything is going from the predisposed conclusion that you must be doing something wrong, or there must be something wrong with you. So no inward-facing cameras here at Dart. No inward audio being recorded, in-cab audio, I guess is the way you would say it. And so I'm okay with the outward-facing camera. I'd like it a little better if I had control of it. For example, if I drove through a rainstorm and I wanted to include some of that video in one of my YouTube videos, it'd be nice if I could access that video, which I'm not able to. Now, if there was something questionable, Dart could access it, but it'd be nice if I also had that same access. One thing this camera does do that I really like, and it's not always right, but it scans the road and looks for speed limit signs, and if it sees one, it'll print it on your digital display. So if you're not really sure what the speed limit is in an area, maybe you missed a sign or something, a truck, you were passing a truck and didn't see a speed limit sign, hopefully it picked it up. Now, last night, ironically, we were going down the road and it was raining, and it thought it saw a speed limit sign that said 90 miles an hour. Now, I'll just let you know, for those that don't travel the country, I'm not aware of a 90 mile an hour speed limit anywhere in the country for trucks. And that's another thing. In states where there's a split speed limit, say California, for example, oftentimes it will show you the car speed limit sign and not the truck speed limit sign on that digital display. So you still need to be paying attention, and you don't want to put all your faith in one of these electronic devices. Which brings up another point. You know, we've been hearing a lot of talk about automated trucks and things like that that are coming in the future. If the current technology can't even read a speed limit sign, how well is it going to work when it's in total control of a vehicle? Now, I realize there's going to be drivers still sitting in the trucks for the first few years while they perfect the technology. But the problem is, you can't create a software program for every situation. Sometimes you need to be able to think on the fly. And I'm curious, from a legal standpoint, when there's the first accident with one of these self-driving trucks, who are we going to blame? Well, I know initially who we're going to blame. We're going to blame the driver that they still have manning the truck inside. But what happens when we go totally autonomous and there isn't anybody in the truck anymore, and a truck goes off path and kills somebody? Are we going to blame the trucking company legally? Are we going to blame the manufacturer of the software? Are we going to blame the manufacturer of the truck? That's what I'm waiting to see, because there is no perfect solution. These guys want to make it to where we don't have any danger in our lives at any point, and there's just a certain amount of risk involved with getting out of bed in the morning. So I'm real curious about autonomous trucks and how that's going to work. in the future, and I still think we're 20 or 30 years away. There's video out right now where they put a piece of duct tape on the road and it causes vehicles to wreck. Last time I checked, there was like 19 lawsuits against Tesla for their self-driving cars where the cars have wrecked. So if it's having trouble with cars, imagine when it's powering an 80,000 pound missile going down the highway. But anyway, back to this truck. That's my thoughts on that speedometer thing. It's pretty cool. Another thing it does that I'm not a big fan of, and I mentioned this in that other video, when safety isn't safe, that little black box on the front bumper that I told you about. While it's better than what it was in my 2019 T680 Kenworth, it's still got some problems. It's more refined, but if you're coming up on a car, instead of gradually slowing down, and I mean you can be a pretty good distance from, it will lock up the brakes. And from driving all these years, I've learned there's very few times in life you ever want to lock up the brakes. If there's anything else you can do, if something runs out in front of you or anything, locking up the brakes, you always want it to be one of your last resorts. So, because once the wheels lock up, you're out of control. And you want to be in control in those type of pressure situations. So, I've got a little bit of problem with that. Also, going under overpasses, sometimes it'll think you're hitting a wall. It'll lock the brakes up. Now, a vice president of safety, who's not at DART, I'll tell you that much, told me, well, when they do, they only slow you down 5 miles an hour. And that may or may not be true. It sure feels like a lot more when it locks up the brakes. But I spun that around on him and I said, let's say that I had an accident. Somebody rear-ended me. And they said, well, the truck driver slammed on his brakes. And I said, I did, but I only did it for 5 miles an hour. Would that be an all right answer? Or would they have said, no, you needed to have a good reason to slam on your brakes? You can't just randomly slam on your brakes because you think something might be there. Like that overpass I just mentioned, for example. So I'm not a big fan of the Bendix system. And I've brought this up in other videos. Why would Bendix, the maker of brakes, create a system that purposefully abuses your brakes? Well, obviously it sells more brakes. Now, I have no proof of that. That is my opinion, but it makes the most sense. That little brick on the front of your bumper, from what I'm told, if it goes out, it's around $5,000 to replace. And you have to have it or you don't have cruise control. Now, mine's covered under warranty right now, and I've had no issues with it other than the issues that everybody has with it. If it gets a lot of ice or snow on it, it shuts itself off, which people always tell me, well, Trigger Todd, what happens if it slams on the brakes while you're on ice? It is supposed to deactivate when you don't have your cruise control on. And in bad weather situations, you should not have your cruise control on. We all know that. But I've had it still slam on the brakes when I did not have my cruise control activated. So it may not do it most of the time, but it will do it sometimes. And I'm telling you, these things are accidents waiting to happen, in my opinion. But so that's all I want to say about that today. I hope you guys don't take this as a negative review on this truck, because I really do like this truck. And I'm really happy with this new Peterbilt and the fuel efficiency and the comfort and the extra storage and everything. And we're going to talk about it very soon when I compare it to that T680. But for now, we're going to wrap this video up. I got lots of stuff coming, so you guys stay tuned. Make sure you're still subscribed. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.